Hello, this is Pong Physics. I'm Abdallah.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Will.
And we are here to present DP2. So, in this presentation, we will talk about our updates since DP1, as well as fundamental additions to our BRG. First, we will talk about the project management and the Gantt chart and the schedule that the team is running on. Then we will include topics about intellectual property and similar products in the market. It is helpful to consider all these products so that we can create a broader pattern. Moreover, we highlighted information about concept generation and different tables that we created so that we can have our final solutions to each of the three stations. We also came up with different ways to score these solutions. And then we had failure modes and effect analyses to each solution so that we could try to prevent the problems that are most likely to happen. Finally, we included updates of our economic analyses and included the loans that we're going to need in order to continue with the development of our product.
Okay, so now we're going to look at the project management updates. This is going to focus mostly on the schedule updates that we have for design phases 2 and 3. So for design phase 2, we focused mostly on the design and building of each of the individual stations. We started by looking at the ideas that we had for each station and what we wanted to accomplish with the station. Then we developed CAD models for each of the individual stations, and we put it through a concept screening phase where we scored each of the individual stations that we designed based on how well it accomplished the task. Then we looked at the best one and developed a physical model of that station. Then we performed failure modes and effects analysis on that station in order to determine what updates we would need to make before building the final model. Then we integrated all of those stations together and built our final model with each of the stations working. Then, in addition to the building of the prototype, we also performed economic analysis on the BRG. Looking towards design phase 3, we plan on looking at many of the aspects of the product, such as industrial design, that will focus on how the user interacts with our product.
So the next section of our DP2 is our intellectual properties section. And for this section, we had to research 5 different patents that related to our BRG. And going from left to right on here, first we have a loop-to-loop toy, which uses gravity to propel a cart through a loop. And then next to that, we have a levitating ball toy, which uses air to lift the ball up through a tube. Then next we have a ramp and catch for marble. And that just uses marble going down the ramp and flying through the air and being caught by a second section of that. And then next we have a marble race game, which has a bunch of interchangeable parts. And then finally we have a pinball plunger, which uses adjustable plunger to launch the ball up through the pinball machine. And the commonality between all of these patents was that they're all expired patents, so it shouldn't affect our BRG in any way. And also that all these generally have simplistic and adjustable parts, which we should implement in our BRG.
So we created concept generation tables using different subfunctions based on the following criteria: the initiation, materials used for assembly, the assembly itself, connection to board, and the movement through the station. We had different solutions based on these different subfunctions, and we ranked them both quantitatively and qualitatively. For the quantitative analysis, we created a concept scoring table in which we ranked the different stations. We weighed construction material most because we believe that the sturdiness of the BRG is essential to its success. If the BRG changes its shape after several uses, then it's not going to be as effective. And then we ranked the station initiation least because the entrance of the ping pong ball into the BRG course is not as essential to the educational success. And for the qualitative analysis, we created a concept screening table in which we assigned a plus for the optimal subfunction, a 0 for a reference, and a negative for a subpar subfunction. And those were created arbitrarily based on the viability of the subfunction, and we defined viable as sturdy, aesthetic, and educational. And finally, we replicated these different concept generation tables and screening and scoring tables for all three of our stations in order to come up with the most optimal and educational station.
So the next section in our DP2 was our failure modes and effects analysis, and in this section we find out what components might fail in our stations. And the table for station 1 is right here, and here you can see that the fan and Arduino are the most failure-prone components with higher risk priority numbers than the other components. The reason for this is that they're electrical, and if in worst case scenarios, if there's a miswiring, they could catch fire and cause the whole BRG to harm the user. And in order to fix that, we need to double check the wiring and make sure that the user can easily fix problems that may arise. Then for station 2, our most error-prone component was our launch ramp, which has the highest risk priority number, and that is due to the ball. If it goes through the ramp too fast, it might fall off preliminarily, or if the ramp is too thin, the ball also might fall off and before it reaches our next station. And in order to combat that risk, we need to make the ramp wide enough so that the ball can easily travel through and not worry about the speed or if it is too thin to fall off. And then next, we have our station 3, and the most error-prone component in here is our elastic-powered plunger. And the only risk there really is that the elastic bands, if they snap, they could harm the user. So in order to fix that, we will provide extra elastic bands and also have the user check occasionally, see whether those bands might be failing.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the economic analysis that we performed on the BRG. So for DP2, we focused on the loan that we would need in order to cover for the development phase of the product. We looked at a loan that would have a 20% quarterly interest rate, and we would need that in quarters 1 through 3 in order to cover that development of the product. Over those 3 quarters, we would need a total of $38,250, and that would cover building costs as well as some of the basic development costs of the product, so marketing, materials in order to build prototypes, things like that. Then in quarter 4, we would begin selling the product, so we would be turning profit there, and we would use that profit to then pay back the loan from VTEPs, and that would take place from quarters 4 through quarters 10. In quarter 10, we would start turning profit after paying back the loan completely, and then in quarters 11 and 12, we would also have profit. So between those 3 quarters, we would make a total profit of $23,129.06, and that's on top of the loan that we've already paid back. So that's profit that's going directly to VTEPs. And if we look at the IRR, we're at 36%, and that's well above the MAR that we set at 20%. So this would be a good investment for VTEPs.
This is our DP2. The team is closely following our schedule that is highlighted again. We have finalized all of our stations. We have examined the failures and how to prevent them. And in the future, we will be looking at the industrial design aspect of our design. And we will also be looking at the product interaction with the customers and how to optimize that.